In some cases, a change of heart occurs when an intelligent villain realizes that their former behavior is no longer in their best interest. In other cases, a villain with good intentions finally gets the opportunity to be the good guy they've always been on the inside. Maybe a villain who was really into the whole evil thing realizes the error of their ways after a showdown with the protagonist. Maybe they begrudgingly join the good guys, but their old personality keeps creeping in. No matter the reason, characters who make the switch from villain to good guy can be fascinating. Which switchover did you think was the most plausible and interesting? 10. Hyouka Izumi Bunga Stray Dogs. Hyouka Izumi of Bunga Stray Dogs never wanted to be a bad guy, but her ability, called Demon Snow, left her no choice. Her ability started causing chaos when she was just a little girl. In order to defend herself from an assassin manipulating her parents' bodies, she ended the life of her own parents. Later, she joined the Port Mafia and took out over 30 people in their name. Atsushi notices her reluctance and feel empathy for her. She's not in control of her abilities, but neither is he when he turns into the War Tiger. Despite the protests of the agency, he rescues her from the Port Mafia. The agency eventually comes around and helps shield her from the police, rehabilitate her, and eventually give her work to do on their behalf. 9. Nico Robin One Piece. We're first introduced to Nico Robin during the Alabasta arc when she's working for Crocodile and the Baroque Works organization. And although she's always had good in her, her violent past made her into a cold and cynical person. It's only until she meets Luffy and the Straw Hats that she begins to change for the better. She even betrays Crocodile in order to save Luffy's life. Now a member of the Straw Hats, Nico Robin has come a long way and learned to heal from her traumatic past. 8. Krona Soul Eater. Like a lot of characters who start off as villains before migrating over to the good guys, Krona of Soul Eater never actually wanted to do anything villainous. They were forced to become a killer by their abusive mother, Medusa Gorgon. Said abuse made it just about impossible for Krona to go against their mother in any way, so for a long time, they simply obeyed while becoming increasingly mentally unstable. Eventually, Krona meets Maka and starts feeling wanted to protect her instead of attack her. This eventually leads to recognizing their mother as abusive, realizing that they don't need her approval, and deciding to try to help thwart their evil plans. 7. Nishio Nishiki Tokyo Ghoul. When viewers first meet Nishio Nishiki of Tokyo Ghoul, he's not exactly nice. He immediately decides that Kinshiki is untrustworthy, and as a result he harasses him, and even tries to fight him to the death. After Kinshiki helps him rescue his kidnapped girlfriend, he changes his mind about him, and joins Antiku, a group of ghouls dedicated to acquiring their human flesh in an ethical manner. 6. Sesshomaru Inuyasha. Sesshomaru easily has the best character development in the entire series. He went from a ruthless demon who hated humans to an ally who ends up taking care of a little human girl. His drastic change is all thanks to Rin. Although Sesshomaru initially rejects Rin's help and kindness, he realizes how much he's grown to care for her after she is killed by wolves. He brings her back to life and Rin becomes his travel companion for the rest of the series. Sesshomaru's acceptance of humans brings out his compassionate side, and he eventually aids Inuyasha and his friends in defeating Neruko. 5. Hi Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho features the murderous Hai, who dedicated his childhood to various killing sprees. He had to join the spirit detectives as a condition of his parole, and he was pretty surly about it until they took on a mission to rescue his twin sister Yukaina, whose relation to him had been kept a secret. Despite not being forced to accompany them this time, Hai still tags along, making up excuses for why he's interested the whole time. 4. Scar Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood. Scar is probably one of the most well-developed characters in Fullmetal Alchemist, Brotherhood. He starts off as a villain who targets state alchemists. Without context, this makes him seem like a monster. With context, it gets more complicated. State alchemists nearly wiped out his people, the Ishvalans, and destroyed their homeland. Despite belonging to a religion that preaches peace, Scar considers genocide to be a worthy reason for revenge. His rage leads him to destroy people who were trying to help him, including the Rockbells, who were Amestrian doctors attempting to treat his wounds. When he's confronted with the Rockbell's daughter Winry, who hates him for murdering her parents, but is still willing to help him because that's what her parents would have wanted, he must take stock of the impact of his revenge. As the series progresses, he puts his justified feelings aside to ally with Al, Ed, and others who are working toward the same thing: he is peace. 3. Gajeel Red Fox Fairy Tail. Gajeel Red Fox of Fairy Tail starts off as a member of the Phantom Lord Guild, one of the most powerful guilds around. While there's naturally a lot of infighting between the guilds of Fiori, the Phantom Lord Guild takes the conflict a step too far by attacking members of the Fairy Tail Guild and hanging them from a tree. When the group eventually disbands, Gajeel is at a loss for what to do next. Despite his direct involvement with the attack on Fairy Tail, the guild's leader Makarov invites Gajeel to join them. While he doesn't forgive Gajeel for what he's done, he also wants to give Gajeel purpose and companionship. Gajeel ends up becoming an indispensable member of the guild. 2. Vegeta Dragon Ball Universe. Vegeta of the Dragon Ball universe is probably the most famous example of a villain joining the good guys. When Vegeta first appears, he's a vicious murderer who wants nothing more than to defeat Goku, known to Vegeta by his scion name, Kakarot. After being forced to work with Goku and his friends toward their common goal of defeating Frieza, Vegeta finds himself protecting his former enemies and being protected in return. When he gets hurt and is forced to stay on Earth longer than he meant to, he starts getting used to the people there, and even growing attached to them. It takes several relapses into his old ways to fully change, but eventually he does become a valued and trusted ally to Goku and his friends. 1. Gaara Naruto. In Naruto, most villains eventually realize the error of their ways. However, most of them perish before they get a chance to join the good guys. Gaara is one of the exceptions. When Gaara first appears, he's hellbent on destroying as many people as he possibly can, referring to them as prey. This is a trauma reaction like Naruto. He was vilified by his people for having a monster sealed inside of his body, but unlike Naruto, he was attacked by his own family. His father and uncle literally tried to murder him repeatedly. After a protracted fight with Team 7, Naruto and Gaara have a heart-to-heart talk about their mutual feelings of isolation and pain, and this convinces Gaara to stop hurting people and dedicate himself to protecting them instead.